Hey team, quick message from your coaches about this weekend, the training that we did in Pennsylvania. I shared some stuff on my Facebook and I thought it was worth it to talk to the team about our culture, core, combatives, American top team, etc. So we had a great weekend, tough weekend, where we trained grappling, focus on combatives with blades, addressing real life scenarios like dangerous scenarios. We did lots of firearms training, pistol, integrated pistol combatives, carbine, integrating carbine and pistol, and also blade work with amazing coaches. And the reason I want to talk to you guys about it, because I found a lot of great things, a lot of takeaways from the training. So number one, and actually let me add one more thing. We did a lot of force on force, so people against people. We did the stress courses, which will include striking drills and moving to shooting different targets in the middle of the woods. Everything very safe, everything really well organized. And also we did an amazing, it was a life-changing experience. Exercise of awareness, and this maybe I'll talk about that in another video. But anyway, so this was the Modern Warrior Conference, ran by 4 amazing guys, 4 amazing friends from M.M.A shooting and the SIAC group. So first, Bill Rapier, former Navy SEAL, 20 years Navy SEAL, black belt in Jiu-Jitsu, great friend. Many of you guys already know him because he visits us every year, comes train at school and then teaches classes in Connecticut. Tom Kyer, who is one of the leaders of the SIAC tactical group, and I've been working for the SIAC tactical group, as many of you guys already know. And also Tuhon Harley Elmore is one high-level student under Danny Asano. He has his own academy in Texas, Warriors Way International. Unbelievable experiences. This Kali guy, SIAC guy, Blade, and Justin Garcia, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt, really good friends. I know Justin since 2003, and he has been part of the SIAC group as well. So we had many of our guys there training. Dave Torres, Greg, Mike, Jamie, Ben, and some other people that you guys, Nate, some other guys probably you don't know because they're guys that come more to combatives. And so we had our core integrated combatives group there. So what is core integrated combatives is our RMA, or reality martial arts program. We just name it core integrated combatives because it goes along with our school. But the core integrated combatives, the base, the foundation, comes from RMA, that was created with Shihan Wall-Lysick, one of my mentors, and many other top level legends in martial arts. And Shihan Wall-Lysick, he gave me the foundation and the mindset and the principles besides the techniques, because training techniques is not as hard as I feel like as understanding principles, mindset, and the logical order of thought. So our base is RMA, and RMA, what made me get closer to RMA is the fact that it's a very comprehensive system created by very capable and knowledgeable people that integrated this open-mindedness into the principle So I felt that it's the most effective system when it comes to self-defense that also has this approach that takes in consideration the spectrum of violence. And not as a violence as something negative, but violence is something positive to save our families, to save our lives. And so this is very important to mention. So through my my knowledge in RMA, through my experience talking to Walt Lysick and training under him, and his coaches, you know, the people that teaches for him, I felt that it was a strong base for us to start like moving on into the more self-defense and combatives. Never, you guys know we love the sports jiu-jitsu, we love the M.M.A, everything with rules, competitions, and all of that. That's the base of our school, and it will always be. But more and more, I try to bring to you and to everybody in our team the comprehensive understanding of, you know, all the scenarios in the spectrum, which goes from amateur sports to you know, jiu-jitsu competition, to M.M.A, to combatives, and then within combatives, something that could be just like de-escalation a lot of times, most of the times, ideally, and then from that to maybe no weapons type of situation, where it's non-lethal, so we can restrain people, so we can remove ourselves and our families safely from a bad situation. But then also we cover police officers, techniques for police officers, law enforcement in general, and also moving on to a more, say, military style, and things that I've been working on, and together with a group of guys that have been helping me out, such as Dave, Torres, Greg, Diego, and Marcus, right now, as we are developing, you know, this more, say, comprehensive system in self-defense within core, but also always under the RMA umbrella. Well, having said that, what I felt that personally I was missing, and Silvia too, was the firearms training. So we started doing firearms training like quite long ago now. It looks like yesterday, but you know, and we looked for the best instruction. We were fortunate to train with amazing guys, and then I was missing something else, which it was the blade work, understanding blades better and different weapons. So luckily, and it was an honor to start having Datienza Kali at our school for a select group of people. Amazing connection, brotherhood, and integration, and of course the SIAC, because in my opinion, SIAC and Atienza are the best systems that integrate the blades with the firearms, with, you know, with the real application of those things. So having said all of that, and never losing our roots, because it's very important to mention the people that helped us out and keep following them, you know, especially my mentor Walt Lysick. We start digging more into this whole thing, because we feel like Silvia and I, coming from Brazil, we understand violence sometimes a little bit different than other people, and a lot of things that we know that unfortunately will become more common in the United States. So my concern, serious concern, is that you guys and your families are always safe, and you guys start embracing some concepts and some mindsets that you know, we have been adopting for a long time in our lives, but some things I don't always mention. And so number one is very simple. Our biggest concern is to keep supporting and honoring our Constitution, and of course we can mention First Amendment, Second Amendment right off the bat, and the importance of the Second Amendment, the importance of of us being able to defend ourselves and to defend our families. So the more I think, the more I try to integrate things, and we have really good ideas. What I want to share with you guys is that Steve and I, we had a great experience. There, we had a force on force scenario where we had to come up with a strategy right off the bat. Two people against two people, firearms involved, pistol, carbine, and blades. And we have the scenarios. It's not a game. We never saw it as a game. It was in my opinion, the way that I pressurized myself was to think that I wanted. So first of all, she was my partner. I chose her as my partner, and she chose me because I thought it was the most appropriate. Since we are training, I wanna make sure that I was training with the person that most likely will be with me in the case of a home invasion or something happening. We are someplace, some mall, somewhere in the United States, and something happens. So who would be with me? Who would be my partner? And that was Sylvia. So first thing, like we noticed is like both of us had a good communication. So communication was key. First, when we discussed what we would be doing, what the strategy would be, who's going, who's flanking, who's covering fire, who's, what is type of, you know, uh, strategy we were going to use. Second, communication during the drill. So this is the drill was we were using simulation or UTMs, pretty much firearms converted to shoot like paint projectiles, and so very extremely safe for everybody there, like tier one, special forces people with the experience in running this kind of drills. So everything was absolutely safe, and but we were using real pistols or real carbines converted. So everything great. Um, we we end up having a great communication, like I said. Leadership, it wasn't a matter of me being the leader or Silva being the leader. We had this, we conversed, we had this talk and agreement of what we were going to do. And the leadership can shift and can move according to the situation, because say I'm injured or I'm unaware and Silva was the first person to pick up a sign of something going wrong somewhere, which it could be somebody breaking in our house. So she would be the leader because she would have to call the first shots as far as actions, or the other way around. Important is communication in the household. You know, in our case, we have Silva's mom. She has a little, say Alzheimer's, so we need to make sure somebody's helping her if something happens. Who's gonna cover fire? Who's gonna give cover so we can, whatever strategy could be, barricade, call police, and etc. etc. Another takeaway is that in 30 seconds, your life can change forever. Either you're being shot, or you're shooting someone, or you're getting stabbed, or you're stabbing someone because you had to save your life. So I'm talking about use of deadly force when there is a imminent threat to life, or imminent, otherwise unavoidable uh, threat to life, or grave bodily harm. So that's, in consideration that situation. And so 30 seconds or a minute was an eternity. And in that, of course, I already have the mindset. Many of you guys don't have the mindset because of ideologies and politicians like telling you a bunch of lies. If something happens, it can take less than 30 seconds for your life to be changed completely. And then we went over many scenarios, like, for instance, case in Connecticut where a mom, two daughters got raped, killed while the husband was in the basement, listening to all of this. And psychopaths, home invasion kind of situation. And we went through some other scenarios and some other tragedies that happened. So as I'm running the drills after that, we are doing we did pretty well. So Steve and I, like I said, we talked, our strategy really worked. On the second day, we had to make adjustments because I ended up getting shot. So, which is part of the drill. That's why we're doing that. But after that, we corrected, and it was pretty much a 3 minute, probably like 2.5 minutes to 3 minutes situation where we are confronting these two guys, role players too, like they are trying to win, we are trying to win. And it was an amazing experience because it worked extremely well, the communication, the verbiage, how we worked as a team, as a household. So how I pressurized myself was by thinking that I had to take care of Sylvia and be alive for Sylvia, and be also, I know that she was like taking care of me as well because she's sending shots downrange, um, trying to hit the bad guys. Let's say I thought that we were the good guys; they were the bad guys. Otherwise, I wouldn't have motivation to fight. And also, I thought about my daughters. I thought like this is a real life situation. I need to take this serious. This is not a game. So the conclusion you make is that the scenario, the 3 minute scenario, would not happen in a house most likely. This was an open space, um, like some high ground, lower ground, flanks, barricades, and etc. And I ran out of bullets on my rifle. I had to go to my pistol, um, and luckily Sylvia went. She picked up. She saw where I was. She saw how I was sending, shots to keep the guy busy and concerned. And meanwhile, she flanked from behind, and she did a great job. So, what is the conclusion? Number one is, regardless if it's the wife, the husband, in the household, my idea is that both should always understand the persona of being the protector, right? I have to, at some point, embrace this persona, being the protector. What is to be the protector? Is to understand the threats in life, understand violence, understand the positive violence and the negative violence. So negative violence is the bad guy trying to kill me, trying to kill my wife, my daughters, my mom, so forth, so on. That's the bad violence. Now, the good violence is me using violence to stop a threat and stopping someone from using that bad violence to end our lives. Not for the property, but somebody trying to end our lives. Biggest takeaway is all the lies, I already knew this, but I just be more open to all my students. Anybody that tell you that all you need is to hide, call the police and wait, they are lying to you. They are doing a disservice so big because it's good. This is the protector. Because the truth is, 30 seconds. The first one maybe took like first round. It took probably like a minute, and a minute everything changed. Right. And the first day we did pretty well. Was pretty much like 1 minute tops, and we could take care of the threat. On the second day, first drill, we need to make adjustments, and then the second drill on the second day, we did pretty well. So again, anybody that tells you that all you need to do is hide and call the police because the state, your mayor, your governor, or your president tells you that, and you don't need to think about your own protection, it's lying to you and doing a major disservice to all the country. Anybody that tells you that you don't need ways to protect yourself is a coward. It's a weak man or a weak woman. And they're so weak that they cannot deal with people that have a more confidence in people that are looking to protect their families. So now I want you guys to do an exercise and think about your daughters and your sons. Think about your mother if you don't have kids. Think about other people that you love. And how would you feel if, and this is an exercise that I did with the person that went to challenge me in a public seminar, and she said she didn't believe in violence to protect herself, otherwise she will become just as bad as the person trying to kill her. So I don't know why she went there, but that was the point. So my question was, how do you think would you feel that, well, you are pacifist, you don't want to use violence to stop a violent person? And at first I asked if she had daughters, or she had a kid. She said she had 2 daughters. I'm like, okay, great, that's awesome, that's a good start. Let's think about, how do you feel your life would end? How would you feel dying? Imagine, like, now you got stabbed, you got killed, or you know, losing your consciousness, and all you see as you laying on your, you know, put of blood, your own blood, all you see as you know, sideways on the ground, all you see is the world closing. And as the world is closing, you see that guy or those guys going to your daughter's room. What would happen to your daughters? How do you feel? Like, that's a really bad way to die. It's a terrible way to die. It's the last thing you leaving, or you bringing with you. Your last memory is, it's nothing you can do, and your daughters will be killed. And of course, it's an emotional situation, etc. And she thanked me for putting the thought process. I don't know if she changed her mind. I don't know if she decided to have an alarm system, have like more awareness, talk about, you know, things with her daughter, but hopefully she changed. Another thing that a good friend, Kyle DeFore, mentioned in one of the trainings, and Kyle is a former SEAL team, because he had somebody telling him the same thing. So he said, the person said, like, I don't believe in violence, I don't believe in acting like this, and etc., etc. So he said, like, well, if somebody breaks in your house, what do you do? And so somebody that didn't believe in using a firearm to protect the household or something like that. So the person said, I'll call the police. So his answer was simple. Well, you do believe in violence, and you do believe in using a firearm to stop a threat, but you don't want to do it yourself, so you're outsourcing. So what do you think going to happen when police comes to your house and somebody's inside your house? They're going to shoot that person. You're going to kill that person. So you don't want to do that. Of course, nobody wants to do that. Nobody wants to take somebody's life. But in that moment, when the moment of crisis happens, your compassion has to be directed towards your people. It has to be towards your family. It has to be towards your loved ones. In the moment of crisis, and say that I couldn't avoid, I couldn't, you know, avert, you know, escape. I couldn't take my family out of that danger. So you couldn't do that, any of those things. So what do you think is going to happen, right? How long do you think it's going to take? What do you think like police would do when they get there? So what I want you guys to do an exercise and think about those things and make your own decisions. You don't need to think like me, but think about your own decisions. And think about how you can engage with your family in conversations that are mindful, that can help them. I really advise my students to start tracking violence in the United States, how it has been growing. And any of my friends, anybody in this community, if you guys have any questions about violence and the reality of the legal trade of firearms, of illegal firearms in the world, come talk to me. We set up a time, we go have lunch together, and I'll talk to you, not to convince you, but just to give you statistics and to give you real mindful information. And I'm going to tell you right away, the first thing is there's absolutely no control over the amount of illegal firearms there are there in the world today. And I can give you like a very simple example, most recent. In the black market, the gun black market, dark web, etc., a missile launcher called Javelin, that is an American product that was sent to Ukraine and sent to many other places in the world, has already showed up in the black market for sale. I don't know if you guys have been tracking that. So even us sending all this military equipment to help another country, we can be contributing in a way to bring more illegal guns into the world. And that has happened in Afghanistan when, Biden took all the military there and left a lot of stuff. So we go from micro, single pistol or rifle that didn't get destroyed to a whole airplane. And there's a fact. The Taliban got a hold of a few Super Tucanos, like a Brazilian airplane that is used for close combat, aerial combat, and ground support. They got a hold of helicopters, and you guys don't need to. You just need to do your own research. I hate to say that. Google it, or actually don't use Google. Use Brave. Use some sort of search engine, Brave, to see the truth. That happened in Libya. That happened after the Soviet Union crumbled down. People don't understand the amount of counterfeit firearms produced illegally in China. I bet that you don't know the amount of AK-47s that are built illegally in China and put in the black market. You don't know the black market in Australia. You don't know the black market of so many different homemade weapons made in Southeast, Southwest Asia, in Indonesia, in the Philippines, in homemade foundries. And those pistols that would never have a serial number, how they will reach. Yeah, Luigi, but it will be more difficult. I'm so sorry to bring you this reality. I'm from Brazil, where a country where all the guns were banned, all the firearms were banned, and criminality rate went up to the roof. And people tell me, Luigi, you cannot compare United States with Brazil, because Brazil is a third world country. People don't even know what third world country means. Again, I can prove you that illegal firearms will never be eradicated, will never be totally removed from society, and bad people are going to keep getting them. Now, I'm not talking about gun laws in the United States. I'm not talking about that. We can have a good mindful discussion about, of common sense laws, like people say, so forth, so on. But at the bottom of my heart, what I want is you, my student, member of my community, to embrace the responsibility of making your choices to protect your family, and to embrace the persona of becoming the protector. And I will have a whole video about the protector persona. This is extremely important, and I will respect you immensely if you decide to never act in any way to learn more about combative self-defense, blades, firearms, and etc. Absolutely respect you. And I just want you to respect my decision to be a well-rounded coach, well-rounded self-defender, a well-rounded mentor, someone with common sense. I had never had a felony in my life. Never ever had a felony in my life. If I had 2 traffic tickets, it's too much. Maybe not even that, maybe one that I remember having to pay a traffic ticket. So I'm a very law-abiding citizen. Everything I do is legal, and I follow the rules and the laws. And I am a law-abiding firearms owner and instructor. But that's my decision. My decision is to keep this woman safe, and her decision is to keep this man safe, and to keep our animals safe, and our family safe, and my daughter safe. I'm not fighting over property or belongings, because everything in my life is insured. But it's understanding the reality of the world. So, summing up, the exercises that I did over the weekend made me better. made us better and also helped us understand even more how much training we need to be able to protect ourselves, how much awareness, mindset, principles. And I'm thankful for having, Shihan Wal-Isaac as one of the probably the person that changed my mind, because first time I met Walt and we were talking, and he asked me like, would you kill someone to save your life? And I'm like, and I go, what about your daughters, your wife? I'm like, of course. I mean, I'll step in front of anybody to save them. And he goes, oh, well, you're selfish. I'm like, selfish? He goes, yeah, because you cannot bear the idea of not having your loved ones. Why do you think they will be okay if you don't fight for your life? I'm talking about life. Why do you think they will be okay if you don't do so? So exercise those thoughts, understand history. And I don't want to make anybody pessimist, because I love life. I love, God, family, country. I want peace. I love hanging out with my family, hanging out with my loved ones. And all I want is to help whoever wants to act on those areas, and whoever wants to become more capable. That's my mission. Either mental health through regular Jiu-Jitsu, make competitors, make pro M.M.A. fighters, make very capable human beings. That's my goal. That's my mission. And I see life as a gift from God. As a Christian, He gave me. He had my name written in the palm of His hand before I was born. He knew who I would become before I was born. He prepared my life when He made my mom meet my father, etc. So I do believe, that's my beliefs, and I'm not pushing onto you, but just my beliefs. So it's my duty to protect myself, so I can keep protecting them, and I want them to protect themselves so they can protect me. Be optimistic, be loving. You don't need to love violence, but you need to be comfortable understanding what is a good violence, what is bad violence. You have to understand that the same car that saves lives, right? A truck from the fire department, an ambulance, and etc. The same vehicle can also do terrible things if it's put in the wrong hands. The same thing in firearms, the same thing with the blade. The same knife that cooks the nicest meal, the same knife the chef is using to make the best meal in the world, can be used by the wrong person to take a life. So objects don't have willingness. Objects don't have intentions. People using them will have. As far as like laws and who has the right to have whatever, it's not what I'm talking about. So anyway, guys, I just want to share my experience. I'm very happy that Steve and I worked as a team. We worked perfectly well, and it was an amazing time for us to exercise this opportunity. And I thank the coaches that were there, to Tom Kaya, to Harley Elmore, Bill Raper, Justin Garcia, many other people that helped us out. And if you guys need anything, again, if you want to talk more, hey, if you have questions, don't be emotional about many things that has been happening in this country, because that's what the people ruling right now wants. They want you emotional. I want you reacting to things without thinking. And you guys know where I stand politically, but I don't follow blindly any party. I don't follow blindly any politician at all. I mean, absolutely not. My only faith, true faith, is in God and people next to me. But as a law-abiding citizen, I follow the rules and I follow the laws. But I'm very conscious about when leaders and politicians wants me acting emotionally. Don't be emotional. Don't be when it comes to these decisions, and make your own decision and let people be free to make their own decisions. That's the message. That's the weekly talk for today. I want to share my experience. I have a huge pride in carrying my logo on my chest. This is something that we built to help people, and I hope you feel like you're getting helped. I'm never gonna judge your lifestyle. If you're happy doing the things that you're doing and how you chose to live a life, that's what matters. But let other people be free to make their own decisions and how they will protect their life, how they will protect their loved ones, and especially their right to speak their mind. Thank you.